Oh yeah, oh yeah. Sometimes I shave my legs and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I comb my hair and sometimes I won't. Depending on how the wind blows, I might even pay my toes. It really just depends on whatever feels good in my soul. Like the average girl from your video, like a supermodel, but I learned to love myself unconditionally because I am a queen. I'm not the average girl from your video. My worth is not determined by the price of my clothes. No matter what I'm wearing, I will always be in the right. When I look in the mirror, the only one telling me every freckle on my face is where it's supposed to be. And I know my daddy didn't make no mistakes on me. My feet, my thighs, my lips, my eyes, I love the what I see, yeah. I ain't built like a supermodel, but I learned to love myself unconditionally because I am a queen. Ooh. It's not determined by the price of my clothes. No matter what I'm wearing, I will always be in the RA. And my last I don't wear pantyhose. My mama said a lady ain't what she was, but what she knows. Hello, and welcome to episode 17 of the Immersive Experience, a podcast about you, for you, from you. I'm your guide, Desilu, and today we talk about self-worth. Woo. So I'm just gonna hop right in because I've been sitting with this all week, right? So the first thing I had to do was ask myself, that's like, what's the difference between self-worth and self-esteem? So for me, when I asked myself that question, it was really a thing of me thinking that at one point that self-worth and self-esteem were the same thing, tomato, tomato, right? No, wrong. So what I found out is that self-worth is internal. It is about what you think of yourself. It's how you feel about yourself. It's what you know about yourself. That's what self-worth is. It's a knowing. Okay. So, and then self-esteem is something that's external. Anything can play on that. If your friends don't like you that day, your self-esteem can be down. If you don't wear the right clothes, your self-esteem will go down. You know what I'm saying? But when you get the job or when you're making the money that you want to make, your self-esteem is up. With self-worth, it doesn't matter what happens. You always know that you're worthy of the things that you're supposed to get, that you're, and really crossing into that understanding was really, really hard for me, right? Because it's like, and it's one of those things where you're kind of like delusional. Like, I know I'm doing what the fuck I'm supposed to be doing. I know this is how it's supposed to be happening. This is working for me. This is this. And you're like, I need to focus on me. And you're thinking you're focusing on you, but then you're still giving all your resources away because you still want to help other people. Here's the thing, and I say this so much, you cannot build a house and give your bricks away. You're never going to build your house. So you have to take a moment and you have to be able to pour into yourself, to give yourself the things that you need. And it sounds strange and it might sound selfish. And for a lot of us, I really do feel like we go through that mindset of, is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Is this how it's supposed to be working? Why does this feel so selfish? I need to be worrying about such and such and such. No, you don't. No, you do not. It is okay for you to stop, take a minute, take care of yourself. Anything that you need to do to focus on yourself. A lot of people, I think a lot of people might say that, no, they do call me very cocky or very conceited or something like that. And that's fine. I'm okay with that. It's just that I'm comfortable navigating areas that they're not. You know what I'm saying? So they're okay. They're inclined to feel that way. It can't come off as conceited because I do think that I'm the shit, right? No. Ha! Who's touching me, right? No, right. You know what I'm saying? So, and a lot of my confidence is not, it doesn't come from the physical. It doesn't come from, oh, I think I look good or I'm a bad bitch. Like, no, I don't think that. I don't think that I have like this face that's just like, oh my God, I'm such a model bitch. But if I wanted to be a model, I got that kind of confidence though. You know what I'm saying? Like, might not be the little model faces you used to looking at, just like video was saying, like I'm not her. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not that girl. And it had to come from the understanding of me understanding my self-worth, understanding that it didn't matter that I was too dark, it didn't matter that I was too fat, it didn't matter that I didn't have any clothes or Jordans or Nikes or whatever, but it was about what I had filled myself with, what I had instilled in myself, what I was allowing to let move through me, grow through me. So anything that I went through or anything that I go through now, I understand that, listen, this is just for a moment. We're still going to get through this. You're still worth everything that you were worth before any of this happened. And you see, self-esteem has a way of playing on us, especially when our self-worth is down. You know, we get depressed, that anxiety will kick in. It's a lot of different things that we'll go through that we'll just try and figure out how are we gonna do this. You know what I'm saying? Like, how are we gonna move through life? What are we gonna do? We're consistently asking ourselves, like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And we have no idea what we're doing. We have no clue of where we're going, how we want things to look, or anything like that. But yeah, we keep saying that, oh, I want somebody to come in and I want somebody to help me and do these things for me, baby. Like I said earlier, we do not need another relationship. We need therapy, okay? Hello. You got to get down to the nitty gritty. You got to get down to understanding yourself. You don't have to put yourself out there in a million and one ways for you to get hurt over and over again. And when people do that and they tell me, like, I'll just talk about me. I had this bad thing of saying, like, I love myself. I value myself. And at every turn, I did something that made it seem as if I didn't love myself or I didn't value myself. So I had to go back and reevaluate those words. Like, do you? Like, do you love yourself? Do you really? You see that you're trying to get somewhere. You see that there's something that you need to do. Even like we talked about last week, developing a relationship with yourself. That's gonna show you your self-worth. Building that relationship with yourself, consistently talking to yourself. Let them people call you crazy, baby. Talk to yourself. It is important. It is imperative that you talk to yourself. Do you hear me? Cause who else? And you gotta answer. Cause who else gonna give you the answers? Ain't nobody else gonna give you the answers. You have the answer, right? And I always say, if you need help, if you need something, go get help. Because about running around trying to tell everybody your business, worried about somebody talking about you or something like that. There are people who you can pay who can't say shit about nothing you tell them. And I take that way because we don't want our business out in these streets, right? So really just developing myself, gaining that relationship with myself, understanding, dating my finances. Because if I would have got somebody, if I would have dated somebody or I got into a relationship with somebody, I didn't know how to manage my money. How are we going to get into a relationship and manage money together? We're not. So I'm going to spend your money too, sir. I'm sorry. So I just had to find ways that really worked for me, but I really had to understand me. So my self-worth didn't come from anything that was outside of me. My self-worth came from everything that was instilled in me. Anything that my mom taught me, the lessons that I learned growing up, things that are core to you. You know what I'm saying? Those things that we know are like our core beliefs, our core values. I think we should all ask ourselves those questions, like, what are our core beliefs? What are the core? Is it something that you aspire to be understanding all the time, to be compassionate, to be, what are your core values? And when I always talk about how we shouldn't compromise, I'm talking about self. People think that we should have these standards for everybody else. And here's the thing, okay? We got these standards for everybody else, but we don't have any standards for ourselves. So like, what are we really doing? Like, I'm just going out there, I'm just like, here, take this. Here's a standard. Where's your standards? Where's your boundaries? Where do you float at? And that's really what we need to be asking ourselves. Like, how can I become a better person? How can I do better? How can I make something greater than what I'm already making? And honestly, we don't. We don't know how. We don't know the first thing. So what we have to start doing first is digging, cultivating ourselves. Your self-worth is going to come from the things that you decide to put into yourself. This face, I was born with it. These defects or whatever people want to call them, imperfections or whatever people deem to see me as, they're going to think that I'm ugly. They're going to think, these are all things that I heard like growing up, you know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you're ugly or you're fat, it's not popular, it's not cute to be any of those things back then, right? I didn't give a fuck. Like, I didn't. And trust me, I still don't. You can think what you think about me. It is not my job to tell you what to think of me. And that is why I say people might think me cocky, or you might think me too confident or narcissistic or something like that, but I don't give a fuck. Like, I just understand the type of person that I am. I know what I'm coming with. I know what it takes to handle me. It's not that I'm being cocky, or it's not that I think that I'm better than you. It's not. I made a status one time and it said that I'm a wild woman, and a guy's hopped in my inbox. I guess it could have been a little misleading. I'm not saying, I wasn't looking for any attention, but some came, and that's okay. And they thought I was talking about, something freaky. And I'm like, it's not nothing freaky. A wild woman to me is just a woman who is free. I mean, like that soul of a gypsy, the spirit of a gangster, like that type of, you know what I'm saying? Like, those type of moments, the knowledge that I have about myself, that's what makes me understand that I'm worth so much more than what people try to give me, or people try to sell me off as, or if somebody comes in and tries to put an opinion on me or to make me seem, I don't give a fuck about my reputation. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what other people think of me. What I care about is what I'm putting into myself, what I'm pouring out of myself. People are always going to see somebody else as a villain. They're always going to see you some type of way. But despite of how a person sees you, you have to understand that your worth never changes. You have to understand that this is just a moment. This is just a situation. See, the way that you handled me, that determined my response. And you're upset. Don't don't let all this self-worth crush your self-esteem, please. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm sorry. Like, don't do that. And I found it so amazing how I was able to be everything for everybody else, but nothing to myself. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't do anything for myself. Like, everything that I did, I had to equate to somebody else. It really had to be, oh, okay, I'm doing this for that person. And one thing I understood at a very, very early age is that I would meet guys who I would allow to instill confidence into me. You know what I'm saying? I remember having this conversation with a friend of mine, and only because I understood, because I had been through it. People don't want to hear about things, but I had decided that I was spending too much time allowing him to boost me up, to gain my confidence, to give me self esteem, to give me the things that I needed. And I understood then that, like, dang, when he leave, is this confidence gonna leave with him? Because you're the one that's giving it to me. You're the one that's pouring into me, doing all of these things and telling me all of these things. And it's me thinking, like, oh my gosh, I only have to please you. I only have to be here for you. I mean, like, really, how much self worth is that? Out of all the self-esteem I thought I had, out of all the self-worth I thought I had, out of all the people I would have never been, out of all the things I would have never been, I've been all of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So I really had to, like, understand, like, I told myself consistently, Ajna, that is so true. Like, you really have to understand where you're floating at in that moment. If a lot of people tell themselves that I love me, and you don't do nothing for you. You don't do nothing about you. You don't do nothing that would even help you gain any momentum anywhere, doing anything. Like, I tell a lot of people, like, it's not too many people that I need. It's not too many people that I trust. So if I come in and I tell you something, or if I show you that I need you, or if I show you that I'm messing with you or in some sort, and you take advantage of it, or I feel like you trying to play with it or something like that, I'm definitely gonna like, I'm gonna pull back. I do that often, like, because I'm important to me. I just can't let people keep walking over me, playing with me, and doing all of these things. Just I'm tired of the back and forth. Like I said, I'm not a toothbrush. Dirty mouth, clean it up. Not with me though, with Orbit, right? So um I really just feel like it's a lot of things that we allow ourselves to go through because we deem ourselves loving ourselves and showing other people how it is to be loved by us because we understand what love is. And although we understand what love is, we've never felt it properly. Even though we can give it, we've never sat down and examined ourselves well enough to understand that this is what we deserve. This is what we need. In order to stay in this constant state of happiness, I need this type of, and walking into my self-worth help me understand that. Like, this is me. This is who I am. I don't need a person who's going to play with my feelings one day and then not show up and then want to baby them the next. Boy, you caused this. What are you doing? You're not gaslighting me anymore. Okay. I'm sorry. Like, we're not doing that. I'm done. Like, and when you were done with something, when you're done with letting somebody disrespect you, when you're done with somebody letting somebody cross you, use you, they're always going to get upset at you. They're always going to get mad at you for understanding that you were worth way more than what they were giving you. Because I was getting you at the bare minimum. What did Nikki Giovanni said? And when I first heard it, I really accepted it. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so deep. Like, yes, fake it with me. Fake it with me. I love you the most and I get the least of you. You understand me? And I feel like that's what I needed to say to myself. Like, bitch, I love you the most and I get the least of you. I was giving me the least of me. You know what I'm saying? Like, stop. It's okay to embrace you. It's okay to get to know you. It's okay to spend time with you. Because if we go outside of ourselves, giving everybody else all of our time, never developing ourselves, never getting to know ourselves, just thinking that, oh, and we cover ourselves up with so much shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, just so many things to consume us, so many things. If I ask you, what is something that makes you happy? And I mean something outside of yourself, not outside of yourself, like not your children if you're a mother, not the way that you raise them, not the what makes you happy with yourself, by yourself. Nothing else exists. Like, what makes you happy? You know what I'm saying? You got to. You wholeheartedly have to come first in every single scenario. And a lot of people think like if I put myself first, it's selfish. Even as a mother, if you put yourself first, it is not selfish because you being well maintained, you being well taken care of, you can go out and take care of your kids just in the same manner, in the same way. We give other people too much credit for the becoming of us. You hear what I'm saying? It was something that you saw, something that you did. And I refuse to keep giving everybody else credit for something that I built, for something that I instilled into myself or something that was given to me. I refuse. I will not. I will be unapologetic about who I am. I walk in the fullness of who I am. I don't give a fuck. You're mad? Are you mad? Are you mad? Like, I could care less. And you're gonna be mad. And you're gonna make a lot of people mad. And it's okay. You've been the good guy for too long. Come over to the dark side, right? Obviously, that's what has to happen. You have to come and play the villain at some point. So I implore you to come and play the villain for just a little while. You know what I'm saying? Be to yourself, by yourself, get to know yourself. And then when you understand who you are, nobody can come in and tell you, hey, Courtney, how are you? Nobody can come in and tell you what you should look like, how you should feel about something. I will let people talk all the day long and they will never have to validate my feelings. They will never have to say anything nice to me. I don't give a damn. Bitch, sometimes I don't talk to myself nice. But you're not, but in the same breath, you're not going to sit up. I'm not going to allow you the opportunity to keep doing it, to keep playing in my face. Again, you showed me the first time that you don't respect me. You don't got enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, I talk about my mama all the time. There was no place that me and my mom ever went that a person didn't walk up to her and be like, "Oh my God, I just can tell you're a woman of God. You're just treat me accordingly, okay?" Like I need that type of treatment. If you see me and you understand the type of woman I am, handle me that way. It's a lot of people who will come up to a person and be like, "Oh my gosh, I can tell that you're such a good guy, or I can tell that you're such a good woman," and do, and then proceed to handle them like shit. How? And then you let them. Because all we're thinking is, I know what I used to think is, I probably can't find anything better. Who's gonna want me? I've gotten 100 pounds heavier because with these people, like, I don't really think about. I don't know. You be so gone in the moment. You don't pay attention to what's actually happening in front of you. You know what I'm saying? So my favorite saying is, "You're on the inside looking out." Well, bitch, step outside. Please allow me to show you you. And you have to understand that when people are watching you go through your pain, go through your struggle, it's like seeing you in a glass house. So I can see you hustling and bustling around, trying to make everything make sense, make all of these, put all these pieces together, put all of these things together. But baby, you still don't value you. You do not value you, okay? So once you understand what your value is, and what you need to know, and that, Ajna, that's how we liberate other people. That is exactly how we liberate other people. As we liberate ourselves from our fears, we unconsciously liberate others from their fears. You can go out, and that's why you be thinking people be copying off of you, because a bitch been hating on you this whole time, right? And they saw you do it, and they was like, "Dang, if she can do it, I can do it." And you gave them the confidence to go and do it. Cause it was, and I'm not saying that it's always like that, but 9 times out of 10, it's probably like that. Cause somebody saw you and they was like, "Dang, if she did it, I could do it. I know I can do it. I done listened to this bitch cry 12 times, 13 million times, get played by 15. I ain't even been through all of that shit. Let me see if I can hop up." They be doubting you from day one, from the jump. So if everybody else doubting you, why the fuck would you doubt yourself? I had to stop. I had to take a moment. I had to take a beat. I really had to get get to knowing who I was. Who am I? Do I really like this? Do I really not like this? Is it something that I should be doing differently? Do I really think that I'm ugly? Am I too black? Is my skin not nice enough? Like, do I really need makeup? It's a lot of things that I question about myself. And at the end of the day, when I thought about it, like, girl, what you finna do about your face? Like, what are you gonna do about it? Are you gonna go get some surgery, or are you gonna go, like, what are we doing here, right? Really, we gotta really make this shit make sense, right? So I really feel like if you live your life out loud, as messy as it is, as ugly as it is, and understand that, like, I really, I don't know. You just gotta live it. Just as, if it's messy, if it's beautiful, if it's gonna be a number of things. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be embarrassing. It's gonna be all of these things. But for me, crossing into an understanding was like, I gotta take the good with the bad. There's nothing, there's no lesson that I would have came into without my failures, without my mistakes, without the heartache, without the upsets, the failed friendships. None of that. I would have never known anything. You know what I'm saying? I would have never known, like, this is what I want something to look like. This is what I want it to feel like. I knew I knew exactly what I wanted. I just didn't know how to go about getting it. And so me trying to go about getting it was mining potential out of people, like, "Come on, come on. I know you got it. I know you got it. Let's go." And I'm like really getting tired. I'm getting drained. I'm like, and then when it comes time for me to do something for myself, I have no energy. Because all my energy's been depleted mining somebody else's field of dreams. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? How am I digging all of your gems up, and you're not even utilizing them? I'm holding something great in your face and you're just ignoring it. And then I apply it to myself. Like, you have something great and then you're ignoring it. You're ignoring you. You're neglecting you. And then you keep thinking to yourself, like, then how does this make sense? How is it that everybody in my life keeps coming in and playing with me? How is it that everybody in my life keeps coming in and thinking that it's okay to walk over me, use me? Baby, what do you think you're doing in your life? Do you think that you're not loving you correctly? Do you think that you're neglecting yourself? I was neglecting myself wholeheartedly. And it's not even just in a money sense, it's in a time sense, it's in a mental sense, a spiritual sense. I'm giving all of my resources away, all of my knowledge away. And it wasn't until I started talking to people and understanding that my subconscious knows nobody but me. So I'm only talking to myself. I'm only telling myself the things that I need to hear. You're listening to them, but you're not listening to you. And silence helped me come into that. You know what I'm saying? Self-discovery is very, very important, you know? Yes. Yes. In everything that you do, you must mind you first. You must. You must find all of your gems, collect all of your things. And when you have an overflow, whatever's left on your saucer, whatever's pouring out of your cup, then feel free to eat. Feel free to have pieces of me. Feel free to have this, cuz I'm not losing out on anything. When I'm fully functioning, then that way I can give unto everybody else without hurting myself. You know what I'm saying? And that's really what it is. And a lot of times we're just scared of how great we're going to be. We're scared of and people get cocky when they understand how amazing they actually are. It is kind of hard because, like, bitch, you slept on me this whole time. Like, you was doing all of this shit, all of this talking. Look at you now, bitch. Look at you. No, like, for real though, you know what I'm saying? So I really just try to keep myself together. I try to stay as humble as I possibly can, because it was a lot of things that came against me. A lot of people that will be against you. They're gonna call you crazy. You know what I'm saying? I get called crazy all the time, and I'm perfectly fine with it because I am. I'm like certified. You know what I'm saying? Like laugh and like straight face. Like I will fuck you up wholeheartedly. And you have to understand that, because I navigate all of my extremes well, all of them, very, very well. And I'll never let anybody take that from me. It's hard. It's hard to sit there and hear somebody talk about themselves in such high regard and such high esteem. And it was very hard for me at one point to sit there and listen to somebody do it, because I didn't regard myself in that and with that much esteem. I ain't think bitch, you're a little cocky, don't you think? You think you're that great? Like, no, wholeheartedly. And I understand now, but I didn't understand then. When you know yourself, when you understand what you want, when you understand how you have to go and get it, when you're intentional about you, the way you move, the things you have to go and get, you're no longer projecting. You're no longer arguing with people about stupid things. See, I've made way more time for myself to keep functioning the way that I need to function, to keep building the way that I need to build. So that's why it takes that self discovery, as Ajna said, building that relationship with yourself. Doing all of these things is what's going to cultivate your bioluminescence. You understand me? You're going to glow from the inside out. I do thank you guys for tuning in tonight. It's been um, an amazing journey for me. Obviously, I have had to overcome so much, so many fears. Like when I talked about the shake the fear shirt I had on last week, um, it's true. Like, it's wholeheartedly true. You have to really be able to shake it off, jump into something new. And if it doesn't work, you have to get back up. You can still jump into the same ship, even if it's sinking. If you got something to patch it up, well, baby, let's go. Give me the give me something to patch it up. And until you get to a safe place where you can go ahead and build you another ship, a bigger, a better ship. Because if we're moving along and we're applying the knowledge that we're getting, and we're understanding what we're worth, and we're not accepting anything less, and people aren't using us and manipulating us and taking us for granted because we don't understand who we are or what we're doing with ourselves, you'll cycle along a lot more quicker. You'll get to where you're trying to go a lot more quicker. You have to understand consistency, right? You have to understand, what they say is that repetition is the mother of all skill. So it's all about practice, practice, practice. Practice doesn't make perfect, but it makes progress. And you just have to see yourself progress along. We have to understand that we have to start right where we are, right where we're starting, and things get frustrating because we see other people zooming past us, doing things that we know that we should be doing, things that we think that we could have been doing, but we never applied ourselves. We never took ourselves seriously. The difference between you and them is that they took themselves seriously. They understood at this point. There's a video that I used to always see, and the man said, he said, when you want success as much as you can, as bad as you need to breathe, that's when you'll obtain it. What are you willing to sacrifice to understand how much you're worth? What are you willing to sacrifice to build your passion? To come into an understanding of who you are, or what you need to do, to stop questioning yourself, to understand, to think more of yourself. I want a shirt that says that so bad. Think more of yourself. Think more of yourself. You're worth more. You're worth the trip. You're worth hey, I'm not coming in today. You're definitely worth it. Trust me. Like, fuck that job. Don't give a fuck about you. Fuck that job. This sign here says relax. We're all crazy. It's not a competition. So trust me, you're not in competition with anybody. It's all about how fast you want to see your success. It's all about how fast you want to see that turnover for yourself. You know what I'm saying? And when you understand that that's how bad you want it, you're going to go out and get it. And you're going to be consistent about it. And you're going to continue to cultivate it because it's something that is of you. It belongs to you. So once again, thank you so much for tuning into the Immersive Experience tonight, a podcast about you, for you, from you. I hope you gathered something, took something. I hope you have a better understanding of self worth and what self esteem is and why self worth is so important. Why it's so big to know yourself. Why it's so big to understand yourself and just always love on yourself. You feel me? So, you all have a great night. I'll be back next Sunday at 7 p.m. with another episode. If you guys ever want to send any questions or anything, feel free. The Immersive Experience page does accept messages. I will drop the link for you guys, and you could send us any questions that you have or anything that you'd like to hear us talk about on the podcast. So thanks so much. Have a great night.